Thank you, and good, very, very early morning here in Colorado. Um, I guess I'd like to just go through a couple quick things about what IBRO is, because I know there's a diverse audience on here today, and some of you are very familiar with IBRO and others not so much. Can I have my first slide? So the International Brain Research Organization, of which I am the president, is the oldest neuroscience organization in the world. So I think we're at like 63 or 64 years old. We're actually older than SFN. And it encompasses representation of basically every neuroscientist in the world. In doing so, it offers availability of resources worldwide that allow everything from career development and educational resources, equal access, diversity, and we're working on building even greater networks and partnerships. Next slide. And the way that IBRO does this is that it has, since its inception, has divided the world into basically 5 regions, which includes the US, Canada as a distinct region, then Latin America, Pan-Europe, Africa, and then the Asian Pacific region. And all of these regions have what's called a regional committee. And it's through that committee, as IBRO is a bottom-up organization, that those committees, which represent that entire region, are able to offer up what their local needs are. So it's based on the overall budget of IBRO, which is basically divided every year into 5 parts. And within those regions, they make utilization of those funds that, as I'll show in a second, come from our 2 journals. And the goal of IBRO is to bring the world closer together. And so, all ships rise with a rising tide sort of idea. And that includes things really focused a lot on junior and trainee level investigators who may need opportunities to travel, may need opportunities to learn something new at a new institution. So there's a lot of emphasis placed on career development opportunities. There's also opportunities around the world for hosting everything from conferences to support for schools, lots of travel awards, et cetera. And so those opportunities bring us all closer together when individuals from regions in Latin America can travel to the Canadian Neuroscience meeting, or individuals from the continent of Africa can travel to SFN, et cetera. And this is how we hope to build more collaborative, cutting-edge neuroscience around the world. Next slide. This is just an example from our recent annual report that shows, because we do represent the entire world and the needs are very diverse across the 5 regions, that on average we get about 1,200 grant applications, and there's all different sorts of opportunities. And as I said, within each of the 5 regions, that regional committee determines which of those opportunities they want to have available in the coming year. So 1,200 grant applications and over 2,500 school applications. And we have, again, diverse schools around the world that IBRO supports. Next slide. Our goal, of course, is to be equal, inclusive, and diverse, and to really emphasize that bringing everyone together isn't just a necessity, but it's also an incredible opportunity. And so it's really important as journal editors on here today that we think about decisions that we make and how they impact individuals that may be from lower or under-resourced areas of the world that may not have the same opportunities. And I've heard some language already this morning, including things about accessibility, enforceability, and the impact that placing demands on publications may ultimately, how that may impact individuals from these countries. I think another thing that we're not talking about today, but open access is another example where, yes, it's important. Yes, it benefits accessibility to information, but it also places a huge financial burden on individuals from many of these countries. So thinking about those opportunities of bringing together funding, training, education, outreach, dissemination of research, which is, I think, the thing we're here to talk about today, that it's so very important. And IBRO offers these opportunities across all career stages and really tries to establish partnerships to enable individuals to excel in their neuroscience. Next slide, please. And as I said, we do that through our journals. So our flagship journal, Neuroscience, was established in 1976. So it's a pretty old journal. We've just done a huge new revamp of everything from how to upload to our website to the journal cover. And most excitingly, our editors-in-chief. So we've gone with 3 editors to again emphasize the inclusivity of the global aspect. We have Francesca Cerulli, who is on here today from Italy, Sarah Spencer, who I think is not on here today from Australia, and Chen Zhang, who is on here from China. And so it is IBRO's efforts to make sure that we have aspects from around the world included at the level of our editors-in-chief to make sure we're thinking about these opportunities and how to include it, be inclusive. Next slide. So our 2 journals are Neuroscience and IBRO Neuroscience Reports, which is our open access journal. And the proceeds through Elsevier, through our contract with Elsevier, since we own the 2 journals, really covers more than 90% of our activities and initiatives. So somewhere around 4 million euro a year goes out around the world to support all of those activities that I already talked about. Next slide. So with that, I thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions and to really look forward to opportunities that IBRO can help support for accessibility as we go forward and thinking about how checklists impact publications in all journals, but of course, especially in our journals. Thank you, Hamad.